My parents said my brother deserved everything and handed him the house. A month later, Dad begged for help paying the mortgage. I emailed the fraud report instead. My parents handed my brother the house like they were granting him a royal inheritance, even though everyone in that room knew he had done nothing, absolutely nothing, to earn it. The memory plays in my head like a staged performance. My mother sliding the papers across the table with a proud, almost triumphant smile. My father nodding like he was sealing some noble family tradition, and my brother smirking in that lazy, half-awake way of his. He deserves everything, my mother said. Not because he'd worked, not because he'd sacrificed, just because he existed in the role of the chosen one. Meanwhile, I stood there after a brutal 12-hour shift, smelling of disinfectant and exhaustion, looking at the house I helped renovate, repair, clean, and financially support for years, being gifted to the one person who had contributed the least. But I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't tell them about the nights I stayed awake wiring the faulty lights, the weekends I repainted the walls, or the months I paid overdue utility bills when they didn't want my brother's future to be stressed by responsibilities. I just walked out with my bag, feeling their backs turn on me before I even reached the door. They thought my silence meant weakness. They didn't know silence can be a weapon sharper than truth. A month passed. Not a phone call from them. Not a "how are you?" Nothing. I worked, saved, slept, and focused on myself for once. Then one morning at exactly 6:14 a.m., my phone began vibrating so aggressively that I thought something was wrong at work. When I saw my dad's name lighting up the screen, I almost didn't answer. The calls kept coming. 3, 4, 5 in a row, until exhaustion turned into irritation. I picked up on the fourth call, and what I heard wasn't the voice of the confident father who gifted the house away. It was the voice of a man afraid. He didn't even greet me properly. He went straight into it, breathless and shaking. "We need your help paying the mortgage." I frowned, sitting upright. "What mortgage? You gave the house to him. Why would you still be paying anything?" The silence after my question was long enough to say everything without him saying a word. Then the truth dropped like a stone. They had refinanced the house right before transferring it, lied about the loan status, hid the debt, claimed everything was clean so my brother could receive a valuable asset while they quietly pocketed a bigger refinance payout. They thought he would easily keep up with the payments once they passed the property into his name, but he didn't. Of course he didn't. He never could. He was already 3 months behind, meaning even before they shoved it into his hands, they were drowning financially. Dad finally said the words I had waited my entire life to hear. "We made a mistake. We need you. Please help us." There it was. Not concern, not love, not regret for how they treated me. Just desperation. They didn't call me because I was family. They called because they needed a wallet, a solution, a savior. The daughter they had dismissed suddenly became their emergency rope. I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not bitterness, clarity. And then fate handed me something better, the truth. Because what they had done wasn't just unfair, it was criminal. You cannot transfer a property tied to an active refinance without disclosure. You cannot claim a house is lien-free when it's sinking in debt. And thanks to months-old emails, the forwarded messages my mom accidentally sent, and the bank notifications I still had, I possessed every piece of digital proof of their quiet little scheme. While Dad kept pleading on the phone, I placed the call on speaker and opened my laptop. My fingers moved with a calmness that didn't feel normal. I started gathering the documents, screenshots, statements, chains of emails, every bit of evidence, every breadcrumb of their lies. Dad kept talking, voice cracking, saying how the bank was threatening action, how my brother was panicking, how my mother was crying because she didn't expect it to get this bad. I didn't respond. I didn't offer comfort. I didn't offer excuses. I just attached the final file, typed the simplest one-line message, and clicked send. Reporting suspected refinancing fraud associated with this property transfer. That was it. No dramatic speech, no confrontation, no tears. Just truth delivered to the right inbox. Within 2 weeks, a thick envelope arrived at their house. The investigation froze everything. The transfer, the refinance, their attempts to rewrite the ownership history. Banks started calling. The property went into forced review. Every lie they constructed collapsed. My brother blamed them for ruining his gift. My parents blamed each other for the refinance. And the quiet family chaos they tried to hide erupted into full disaster. I never once stepped foot into the mess. I didn't call them. I didn't check in. I didn't ask what happened. The storm did the work for me. The last message my father sent me was short and trembling. You destroyed us. I stared at it for a long moment, not with guilt, but with absolute clarity. I didn't reply, but the answer lived loudly in my head. You destroyed yourselves. I just stopped rescuing you from the consequences. And that silence, that final irreversible silence, was the coldest, cleanest revenge they never saw coming.